Okay, my people, welcome to FBA All Day, the show all about justice and understanding for our people. I am the Lord Eric Steele, aka Big Rossi Love, perpetual student of the survival scrolls. If you know, you know. Okay, my people, I've been sent many emails on today's topic. I must address this issue. Today, I'm going to be going in on this Tyre Nichols thing. The incident that happened out in Memphis back in 2023. It leaves a lot to be desired as far as justice is concerned. There's a couple different tidbits I'm going to go into and some things I want you to remember. First of all, remember, even though these guys were just found innocent by the state, which is absolutely ridiculous, they've already been convicted and found guilty on federal charges. So they are going to prison, and there's no time there. You don't get time off and all that kind of carrying on for federal prison. So they are going to prison. They're already looking at sentences, federal sentences, because the Justice Department already found them guilty for other things, okay? So I'm going to read to you some transcripts from the federal investigation, and I'm going to read you some transcripts from the state investigation, okay? From versus the state and versus the United States government, okay? I'm going to read you some information from the transcripts. There's a couple interesting tidbits. First of all, I want you to know I'm going to go through the vital statistics so you can have in your mind, and I'm going to give you a picture of these individuals so you can just imagine in your mind the size difference in these guys. Okay? That's the first thing I like to understand when I get to issues like this, when I get to see instances where people should have felt threatened or can use the threat in defense. Take into account size difference, because that also plays a part in the perception of the threat. Okay? Now, Tyre Nichols, my guy, he was a worker. He had a job. He wasn't just some errant person. He worked at FedEx. Reports have him anywhere between 5'11", as small as 5'11", and I've seen some as high as 6'3". So that's a huge disparity right there. I don't know how they can't narrow that down on his height, but I've seen some reports that say he's 5'11", and I've seen some reports saying he's as tall as 6'3". So take that with a grain of salt. Either way, we know that he was really, really slim. He had a really slim build. He was only 145 pounds. He was only 145 pounds. Okay? In any of that, At my height, I'm 220. I'm a solid 220. Okay? He was only 145 pounds. Okay? Keep that in mind. You say, well, that's really, really slim. And yes, because he was suffering from Crohn's disease. So he had Crohn's disease. That's why he was really slim. He was really thin. Keep that in mind when you put that into the aspect of these 5 officers that beat this boy to death. Okay? As a matter of fact, this is the way they left him. This is how he looked after the incident. Okay? 5 grown men beat, kicked, punched, tased, pepper sprayed 145-pound man. 145-pound man. They beat him with their fists. They hit him with the baton. They kicked him. They tased him. And they pepper sprayed him. 5 police officers, allegedly. Now let's get this straight. Here at FBA All Day, this is not a channel about hate. And I have nothing against police officers. I have nothing against the police. But keep in mind, this is not police work. This is not police work. This has nothing to do with being a police officer. There's nothing in the police handbook that says arrest the guy, don't put handcuffs on him, but beat the hell out of him. That's nowhere in the police handbook. Nowhere in the police academy that they teach you guys, that they teach anyone to kick somebody that's on the ground. That's not a part of police procedure. I know because I've read it. I have family members in law enforcement. My father was in law enforcement. I have children in law enforcement. I know law enforcement. That is not a part of it. This is extracurricular activity. Extracurricular activity. That's not police work. As soon as these guys start doing that, they take themselves out of the realm of policemen. They become a gang at that point. What's the difference in what they did and a random gang jumping somebody in or attacking a rival? There's no difference. They're all wearing the same color. They all have on the same uniform, and they are committing a crime. That's gang activity. By the very definition, they all have on symbols that are the same. They're all wearing the same color. They all have the same uniform. That is a gang. When they take themselves out of the realm of police activity, when you take yourself out of official police activity, it should instantly be deemed gang activity. There's finer points to this case that I haven't been able to verify. I have a very strong suspicion that these guys are not foundational Black Americans. I have a really strong suspicion that they are hiding the fact. And as I mentioned to you guys previously, what they'll do is they'll get these people who have our skin tone and they have them do their evil work on their behalf. The dominant society is running this game, and a lot of people are not aware of it. They want you to believe that we're all just one big black, that it's just the Negroes, it's just black on black crime. It's not the same thing. It's not even close, all right? The people with our skin tone that are not from here, they have a different mindset than us. They have a total different mindset. They have a different agenda, and they don't have a problem beating the heck out of one of our foundational Black Americans because they don't think they're a part of us. I continually have to stipulate this and point these points out because it's very relevant. It's very relevant. Okay? And you'll notice if you try to do any research on these guys, they will never say where they're from. It will never tell you anything about them. That's what makes me so suspect as to these people not being of us. They have to be of maybe Caribbean background, maybe African background. I do not believe these are foundational Black Americans behaving this way. I don't believe it for 1 second. If all these guys are foundational Black Americans, I will be stunned. I will be so stunned. I would wager with someone that these guys are not all foundational Black Americans. I'm 100% sure that they are not. And they don't have a problem doing this kind of things to our people because they think they're something other. I.e. Eric Holder, i.e. Barack Obama. They don't have any connection to us. They didn't feel the need to do right by us. They didn't feel the need to make sure we had justice because they don't think they're of us. They know they're not of us. They're not the same. Okay? I'll tell you what I'll do. So since I showed that video of him, here's a picture of the way he looks normally. This is how he normally looks. Here's a couple shots. Okay? As you can see, he's of a slim build. And I want you to keep that in mind when you think about the size of the guys who accosted him. I know for sure that what's his name? Demetrius Haley and Emmett Martin. Both of those officers, I know for a fact they are at least 275 pounds. Imagine being 145 on the ground in the dark and two people you don't know kicking you. Imagine just one of them kicked him. At 275 pounds, you kick somebody that's 145 pounds? Imagine what that does to your internals. You see the way they left him. I'm going to go on. Without further ado, I'm going to keep my feelings out of it because I like facts, not feelings. But I do feel a certain way. I will not pretend and make you believe that I don't feel some kind of way about this because I do. I really do. Because I have children. I have sons. Okay? Imagine if this was one of your children. Imagine if that was your son. Well, let me go into it. As I said, there was a state and a federal. Okay. Now, from the federal, according to what I understand, Emmett Martin, Officer Martin, he turned on the other guys. They got him in that interrogation room and they got to questioning him, and he decided to tell the truth. Okay. So I'm gonna read you Officer Martin's testimony and give you what he said happened on that night when he decided to tell the truth. Okay, so his testimony the first time, uh, he said that the events proceeded with Nichols, I'm sorry, with Tyre Nichols being pulled over, and they talked about and they viewed with him. Emmett Martin was the officer who initially called it in. Emmett Martin was. He was the officer that called it in. Okay. Officer Martin, according to Martin, he said he was at a stoplight and Nichols drove by. He said Nichols speed up to beat the red light. Okay. He said they saw he was at the intersection and Nichols sped by him to beat the red light. He said Nichols sped up to beat the red light just in time. So he didn't run the red light. Let's get these facts together. He did not run the red light. He sped up to beat the red light. Officer Martin said he made it just in time. So there's no crime. He says I got behind him right after my light turned green. So he was sitting at the red light. Mr. Nichols coming this way just beat the red light, and then the officer facing this way, the light turned green and he got behind him. Okay, imagine that. So you're sitting at an intersection, you have a red light. The car's coming this way, Nichols coming this way. He had the yellow and he just made it through before the light turned red. Okay, so he's in motion going this way, and the officer's light turned green. He gets behind him. He pulls behind him. Okay, I got behind him right after my light turned green, Martin recalled. He said he ran Nichols' plate because beating the red light gave him probable cause. First lie right there. He ran the plate because beating the red light gives you probable cause to beat the plate. Stick a pin in that because that's false. If he made it in time, there's no infraction. So he had no reason to run his plate to begin with. That's not probable cause. A guy didn't break the law, so I got probable cause to run his plate. Keep up, keep up. He said just before, he said Nichols sped up and made it through the intersection just in time. So he didn't run a red light, he made it just in time. And then he said, I ran the plates because beating the red light, you see? So if he beat it, he didn't run the red light. He made it before. Martin had no business running his plate. Officer Martin had no business running his plate at all. That's the first infraction. I ran the plates because beating the red light gave me probable cause. Attorney Catherine Gilbert of the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division asked Martin what was the result of the license plate search. Officer Martin said it was clean. It was clean. There was no wants, no warrants, no reason to mess with this car. He didn't run the red light. The plates came back clean. Officer Martin said he followed Nichols for a while. He said the 29-year-old black man took off fast and was changing lanes without a signal. took off fast and was changing lanes without a signal. At no point during the testimony did Martin say Nichols committed a felony. At no point did he say that boy committed a felony. All right? When he caught up to Nichols, he said he turned his lights on, but he said he was unsure if Nichols could see him since there was other traffic on the road. Are you guys are you hearing this? He said the boy sped up fast and was changing lanes. Then he said he caught up to him and he put his lights on, but there was other traffic on the road. This sounds like they were stalking that boy. I'm going to have to be 100% honest with you. He caught up with him. He didn't say he got behind him. He said, I caught up with him. It sounds like they were setting this boy up. And I'll tell you why I come to that conclusion. There is a rumor that this boy Nichols was in an affair or had some sort of a run-in or dealing. What did your lady Jada say? Some sort of an entanglement with one of these officers' girlfriend. It's been said that he had an entanglement with one of these officers' girlfriend. I don't want to throw that into the ethos without too much solidification, but just from these actions, you have them running this boy's plate for no reason. You have them putting the lights on for no reason. He wasn't even behind them. What do you mean he didn't see you because of other traffic? That makes no sense. Do you know how bright police lights are? And when the police turn their lights on, you feel the heat. They generate heat. Those lights generate heat. If he was behind that boy the way he was supposed to have been, that no way that dude wouldn't have known. But let's take that let's take that with a grain of salt. So the boy didn't know you were behind him. He didn't know you had the lights on, according to you. Okay? He said he didn't know if Nichols could see him since there was other traffic on the road. Martin then called his homeboy's unit on a private radio frequency. He called his unit on a private radio frequency. How was that police work? If this was official business, if this business was above board, if this stop was above board, why didn't he call them on police radio? Why didn't he call them on the radio used by all the police officers? He called his unit on a private number. Why? Why would you do that? Why didn't the prosecutor ask him why he did that? Why did you call your friends on a private line? Why didn't you want the rest of the world to know you were calling them? He called on a private unit to Demetrius Haley, the other 275-pound guy. He was told by Demetrius, let me take care of it. Now, if it comes back that Demetrius was speaking to the same girl that this Nichols kid goes with, Demetrius should get the death penalty, bro. He should be put to death. Because we have stalking. They set the boy up. And they beat him to death. These are facts. This is not in question. Anybody who's seeking justice that reads this testimony, this is Emmett Martin's testimony. Officer Emmett Martin, this is his testimony. Just from this little part right here, you can see that they were setting that boy up. It's obvious. Why did you call the rest of them on a private number? Why did Demetrius say he was going to handle it himself? He wasn't even on scene. He didn't even see the infraction. He wants to handle it himself? He didn't witness the infraction. Why did you call him? You see, these are questions that an intelligent person would have asked. But let's proceed. Martin said he did not say what offense Nichols had committed. Excuse me. He didn't even tell Demetrius what the boy did. Excuse me. But Demetrius wanted to handle it himself. Martin said, I did not say what offenses Nichols had committed, but told Haley that Nichols was getting small on him. That means he's moving. He's getting away. Meaning that Nichols was fleeing from Martin. He was fleeing. He was moving. Fleeing in a vehicle would be a felony offense according to state law. That would be if it was true. But I doubt he had lights on. I doubt he had his lights on at all. When Nichols stopped at the corner of Rush and Rains Road, Martin said he pulled in front of Nichols' Nissan Sentra. Haley pulled up on the driver's side. They boxed him in. So Martin moved into the front of the vehicle, and then Haley pulled up on the driver's side. Now I'm going to show you the video of this arrest, and I'm going to show you what happened when they pulled in front of this. When they blocked this boy in and one pulled up alongside of him, they created a little box. Now, when they pulled up, they didn't tell this boy what he did wrong. They didn't introduce themselves. They didn't say, this is Officer so-and-so from this department. They didn't say, oh, I'm officer and I'm pulling you over for, or they didn't even say, can I see your license and registration? They just rolled up and started cursing at the boy. Get the F out the car. And they opened the door, yanked the boy out the car. That is not police work. No part of that is police work. But don't let me distray you. I'm going to let you see what you see. You tell me, do you hear them say, we're pulling you over for speeding, or we saw you do an unsafe lane change? Watch this video and tell me what you see.
You get your ass blown the fuck out. Get the fuck out the car. Get the fuck out the fucking car. Damn, I didn't do anything. Hey, I didn't turn your ass around. All right. On the ground.
Now imagine that's your son, pulled over in the middle of the night by some officers, and they yank him out the car, and they're doing that to your child. Imagine that's your son, who isn't aware of any crime he committed. Remember, he did not run the red light. They said he was speeding, but they had no radar on him. There was no radar of him speeding, so they don't know how fast he's going. This is a complete setup. This is not justice at all. This is not justice. It has nothing to do with police work. That becomes gang activity at this point. This is gang activity. This is not police work. Here again, remember, Haley was in an unmarked police car. When he got out of his police car, he had his gun out. Martin said when he saw Haley with his gun out, that made him want to pull his gun out. So he pulled his gun out too. They went up to Nichols' car. They went up to the boy's car. And Haley said, get the F out the car. That was the first thing they said to him. Get the F out the car. Gilbert asked why Haley and Martin surrounded Nichols' car the way they did. Why'd y'all surround him like that? Why didn't you just pull him over like a normal, a normal traffic violation? Why'd you surround him like that? Martin said It was because of the type of stop it was. What type of stop was it? Gilbert asked. A felony stop, Martin replied. That's just lying. What felony? There's no felony. He mentioned already that he didn't even think the boy saw his lights. So, where's the felony? Was it a felony stop? Gilbert asked him again. She asked him specifically, was it a felony stop? Martin said, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was not, Martin said. Well, let me give you specifically what he said. I don't want to embellish. Was it a felony stop? The prosecutor asked him. He said, no, it was not. He exaggerated it. How did they find these guys innocent? How were they found innocent? Where's the innocent? He said it was a felony stop. That's why they surrounded him. Didn't the prosecutor say, is it really a felony stop? And he said, no, we exaggerated it. We exaggerated to make it a felony stop. I don't even think he had his lights on until they blocked that boy in. I don't think they had their lights on. People, this is the kind of thing that turns my spirit, bro. They found that boy when they pulled him out. Give me a second. When they pulled that boy from the car and they beat him, they were they hit him, they tased him. He didn't even have any idea why they pulled him out of the car. They tased him, they pepper sprayed him. Imagine what that boy must have been thinking with these 5 huge officers surrounding him. Imagine what he was thinking. Imagine what he felt. Well, you hear him say y'all are doing the most. He didn't even have any idea why they yanked him out of the car. He somehow managed to escape those guys on that traffic stop. And he was very close to home, so he was trying to run home. He lived with his mother. He was trying to get home to his mom. As a matter of fact, some of his last words were calling for his mother to come and help, to intervene. Somebody intervene as these guys pummeled that poor boy. 145 pounds. They kicked him. They beat him. They tased him. They pepper sprayed him. He didn't even know why they pulled him over in the first place. What part of any of this interaction tells you they should be innocent of anything? They are responsible. They are responsible. In the issue of self-preservation, he should have tried to escape that. Any normal human would try to escape being beaten for something you don't even know what you've done by guys with guns. In the your self-preservation instinct, the basic instinct of survival, would have wanted you to get away from that. You have Crohn's disease. These guys are pepper spraying you. They don't know any of your issues. So you can't breathe. Okay? These guys pepper sprayed them. They tased them. There's no part of this do they should be found innocent of anything. They had no right to pull him over in the first place. No right. They had no right to run his plate, no right to pull him over, no right to block him in, no right to yank him out the car. At what did they do that was police activity? I don't even know if he was Mirandized. What didn't Mirandize him before they yanked him out the car? They didn't ask him for his license. They didn't ask him for his registration. Okay. They beat him. He somehow managed to escape. He tried to run home. The officers were fired 10 days after the incident when they read when the police reports were read and they were matched up against the video where you can obviously see they weren't coinciding. Those guys were charged with murder, kidnapping, assault, misconduct, you know, and they're guilty of all of that. I don't know how you could say they're innocent of any of it. I know in December, the U.S. Justice Department said a 17-month investigation showed that the Memphis Police Department used excessive force and that they discriminate against black people. That part is key, especially for Foundation Black Americans. Foundational Black Americans, we have to be aware of these individuals. And it would behoove you to read out, when you're recording these instances or whenever you're accosted, say the person who's arresting you, say their name out loud. Officer such and such and such. Say it during the incident so that we can do our dives on these guys immediately and find out who they are, where they're from. Because after they've done something wrong and they know they're going to be held accountable, they go in and delete all their social media. That's what they do. They go and remove all the little signs that would tell us who they are. Because I don't believe these guys are foundational Black Americans. All of them can't be. And I don't believe it at all. These people, it should be a hate crime because they're not of us. We're not all just one big nigga. Okay? All black people are not the same. To the dominant society, when they assume that, they're just showing their bigotry. They're showing their prejudiceness. The Justice Department just said it. They use excessive force and discriminate against black people. Demetrius Haley, officers Demetrius Haley, Emmett Martin, and Preston Hemphill were the first three officers to encounter Tyre Nichols after pulling him over what they said was reckless driving. The initial lie on the police report, he said Haley wrote that Nichols ignored all directives to get out the car. Is that what you saw in that video? That's not even close to being true. He didn't get a chance. As soon as they ran up, they opened the door, pulled the boy out the car. There was no directive to get out. He didn't get a chance to. They yanked him out. They wrote in their police report that Nichols was swinging his arm and cursing at the officers. Is that what that video showed you? Is that what that video showed you? I showed you the video. Is that what you see? You know that's not true. That's just a lie. A blatant lie. They murdered that boy. And it's obvious. They set him up. The Officer Martin called his homeboys. That's the dude that was with your girl. That's the dude that was with your girl. And old boy was like, oh, I'ma handle it. I'll handle him. I don't believe Officer Martin had his lights on. I don't believe he turned the lights on. I don't believe that at all. Or if he does, he was so far back that Nichols couldn't tell if those lights were on for him or somebody else. So for them to try to say he was eluding, that doesn't make sense either. This was a setup. They set that boy up. Simple and plain. They set that boy up. All indicators point to that. You say, well, why would you think they set this boy up? Well, we see the transcripts on that part. Also, what you have to take into account, according to the police records, according to this transcript, Demetrius, the guy who I think was the guy whose girl was messing with him, or he was messing with his girl, or something transpired between one of their girlfriends and Tyre Nichols. Do you know that after they killed this boy, or not before that, not after they killed him, but after they beat this boy while he was laying there, and they did not call anybody to bring help, they did not offer any sort of medical attention to him after they beat him, and you see what he looks like in the hospital. They didn't try to help him at all. They didn't check and make sure he could breathe. They didn't do any of that. They just stood there laughing and talking about it. Do you know that Demetrius took photos of that boy beaten up and shared the pictures? 11 times he sent the pictures around. 11 times. They found them innocent. This is why we need our reparations. This is why we are pursuing reparations. We have to be able to protect ourselves. This is insane. You know what they did? They took this case, they moved it out of Memphis, which is predominantly black. They took this case to a county where there's all majority called dominant society. Predominantly white society is where they took this case and let these guys get found innocent. When you say these guys follow police procedure, what you're literally saying to us is that the police have an open invitation to kill black people. Because this was not an arrest. This was an illegal detention. This was illegal stalking. They illegally ran his plates. They illegally called one another to stop this guy. And they murdered him. They murdered him. That's all it is. It's just murder. 275-pound guys beating on somebody that's 145 pounds and kicking them. What part of police work is kicking somebody that's on the ground? What part of police work is that? That's official police. You can't say we didn't see them do anything out of police protocol when that stuff happens. How is that police protocol? Is police protocol to kick people when they're down? And then they'll turn around and say, oh, well, we need to give the police more training. No, they don't. No, they don't. There's no way you can train that out of somebody because that wasn't trained into them. They didn't learn that at the police academy. That's not taught at police academy. If it is in your personal nature to kick somebody when they're on the ground, training is not going to help you. You should not be an officer. This guy should be arrested. And Martin had a history. He has a history already of assaulting people. As a police officer, he assaulted people as a correctional officer. He has charges against him for that already. He was already sorry. Come on, man. He shouldn't have been an officer in the first place. As we go on to read, as I said, Haley took cell phone photos and shared them 11 times. Emmett Martin also testified in one of these instances that even though he thought that Mr. Nichols was speeding, although he had no radar detection equipment, he just thought he was speeding, which is nonsense. That's a lie. I don't believe that for 5 seconds. Martin said they never explained to Mr. Tyre Nichols why he was stopped or handcuffed. Three of the former officers at the traffic stop gave different commands at the same time. Officer Preston Hemphill was seen using a taser. Martin said he didn't notify dispatch or alert other officers of the alleged force he felt on his gun, which goes against policy. So they didn't notify dispatch that they had tased the boy. They didn't notify that they had beat the boy. This is really disheartening. It's really tough because, as I said, I have children. But I'm going to read this transcript, okay? Uh, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do it like this, my people, because this was getting long. I'm going to go into actually reading this transcript in part two. This is part one of the Tyre Nichols incident, okay? I'm going to label this part one. Again, it's Lord Eric Steele. I'm your boy, FBA All Day. There's so many great things we have coming to you. We have our new website coming to you, which is going to have links to all different kinds of music. We have a new song coming out called Skinfolk. We have a video for that coming out soon. So there's a lot of exciting thing going on, as well as merchandise for the site and the channel for our people. So stay tuned. We have a lot of things coming out. This is part one. I'll be releasing part two not long after. In part two, we're gonna break down the transcript. Okay. So this is part one. Part two to follow. All right. Again, Lord Eric Steele, it's your boy. Out.